I always say that AI is a simplifier, AI is an equalizer,
Yes.
and AI is an amplifier. So for the African teacher, AI puts you as an equalizer, it puts you on the same premise where you have access to the same level of knowledge, information, insight that anybody has in this world.
Welcome to yet another episode of K-12 2030 and beyond. I am Bisayo Adewale, and of course I am here with BioGPT, the one and only education futurist that you can ever find anywhere. Okay, so in the last episode, we looked at design thinking and African teachers, Nigerian teachers, right? And you need to go watch that episode. There are very, very beautiful nuggets that will help you. Now, in today's episode, we're looking at something very interesting. And sometimes I find it very funny. We're looking at AI in education. But this time around, the topic is still around teachers. Because I mean, teachers are at the heart of education, right? Okay, so I want us to drive this conversation with this question.
Okay.
If AI can teach math better than my best teacher, for instance, just say you're a school leader now, you own a school, and you have found an AI tool that is teaching students better than your best math teacher. Do you think the math teacher should be fired? I mean,
you know, it's a very important question, right? So what then is in need? You know, like if I can make an AI agent available, now that we're talking about agentic AI, right? You know, and when that thing started, and you from chatbot to reasoners and now to agentic AI, the truth is that right now, right, we have AI agents that can work with kids, right, and in terms of availability, in terms of patience and many things, right, focusing on the cognitive domain. So I need to use that word, right? As long as the emphasis is the cognitive domain, AI can play perfectly more than humans in that regard. There's no negotiation, right? So you cannot say right now that your superpower is that you are a good mathematics teacher.
Do you know that? So that is still some people's LinkedIn description.
They don't know that,
great math teacher.
So it's no longer about subject. So subject mastery is a domain where AI has proven to be able to do better. There's many research to back that up, right? From OpenAI, it's in a public domain, right? To back that up, how these models have taken these exams, they have passed them, even done better than the students. A lot of them is out there, right? So we're not making it up, right? These things are based on research and evidence, right? So this is now the time, right, for teachers to rethink what their superpower really is, right? You might be saying that, because, and this is for, it's an issue, right? If you're in an environment where they don't embrace innovation, right, you would think that nothing is changing. You would think that everything is just fine, just like many teachers are looking at it now. This is they're not taking it serious because, of course, I still have my job, I have my contract, right? They'll still pay me by end of this month. So why do I need to bother about that, right? As long as school is, but what they don't know is that gradually conversations are going on behind the scene, and even school leaders are beginning to rethink their strategy. And in the value chain, what will happen is, if that is where you can play, right, the amount they are willing to invest in that will begin to reduce, right? I can bet you, because school leaders are going to be faced now because of the pressure from parents, right?
Exactly.
Because parents are going to start asking for more.
Yes.
The new generation of parents, they're asking for more. So, and when they start asking for more, things like, how are you really preparing our kids for the future? Because that conversation is ongoing right now.
Yes, it is.
Right? What more can you give our students? And when there's that what more conversation, and you as a teacher, you can't do anything more than subject mastery, subject delivery, then it becomes a problem for you.
Marking scripts.
Yes. So, and because there are some changes you want to experience in your life, they will take 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. If you don't submit to that reality on time,
now,
and start that preparation on time, it will not be like, hey, the world is against you. But then, because everything looks fine for you for now, there's no problem. You feel like, they need to, but that AI thing is a lie, leave them. There's nothing. Especially when you work in a kind of school where you have seen the leadership, that they have a perk for innovation. So that means you better start rethinking your strategy right now, right? Or else AI will not replace you. But that's another teacher who has mastered the use of AI in a very creative way. That will come with a proposal to your school leader and say, this is what I'm going to do for you.
I like the way you said in a very creative way, because we have seen a lot of, for me, it's embarrassing, and so when I see what some teachers do with AI, I'm like, oh my goodness, why did we introduce AI to this set of teachers? So I like the way you put that adjective, creative, because let's talk about the AI training for teachers now. The last conversation we had at Learning Designers Hub, we tried to answer the question, what exactly is the teacher's role when it comes to using AI in a school or in education? What's the teacher's role? And you mentioned so many roles, beyond the conventional imagination of the regular teachers. We even went as far as a teacher being a cybersecurity expert and all of that. Now, let's talk about those roles again, so that we can have more people, because the Learning Designers Hub, if you have not heard of it, is exclusive for futuristic teachers. So if you want to join the hub, just make sure you send a message to BioGPT Adibayo Alomaja on LinkedIn, and it will let you know what you need to do. Remember that you have to take a course that will
very important,
that will officially baptize you into the hub. You can't just come in like that. It's not like this regular teachers WhatsApp group chat and all of that. No. All right, so back to the conversation. What are those roles that teachers need to be trained when teacher trainers are designing an AI skill acquisition for them? Because we need to address that too. If there are teacher trainers listening to us, there are so many out there now, packaging a lot of training and collecting money from teachers. So what are those roles that teachers need to be aware of, that they fit into beyond just getting content from the AI too?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for pushing this narrative. What we are saying is that, when it gets to education as an industry, and you ask what are teachers doing with AI, you hear things like lesson plans, exam question, worksheets. But go to other industries and ask them what are they doing with AI. You understand? The same way we talk about lower order thinking in Bloom's taxonomy and higher order thinking, level 1 to level 3. But the same way when it comes to using AI too, there's lower order usage.
Deep
and there's higher order usage.
Deep themes.
So if you are still using AI to do lesson plan, you are working sheets, you are still on the lower order usage axis, right? The teachers that are maximizing AI actually, they are the ones that are creating programs. They are the ones that are creating platforms. Higher order thinking is evaluating, analyzing, and creating. Right. So they are the ones that are creating things, right? And when I mean creating, I'm not talking about lesson plans or those things. No. Look at the value, right? So, like I gave an example, right? And this again tied to design thinking, because design thinking says that you have to focus on real human needs. There are so many needs within the education sector as we have it, so many needs, and AI makes this transition easy for teachers. I pray teachers' eyes will open. Right? AI makes this transition easy because AI will reduce your learning curve. So the things we used to see as being very difficult before, what AI has done is to bring them down. They are now less difficult. Today now you can build the website in less than few minutes, right? Just a typical website to do some basic stuff. Coding and
at least to get started.
Yes, your MVP, you can bypass coding.
Yes,
right. These are the basic elements in building platform, building stuffs. You can bypass coding and stuff like that, right? And even if you ever get stuck, you can learn to know what to do, right? My greatest tutors in 2025, they are 3. LinkedIn, Instagram, and ChatGPT. These are my tutors. Right? They teach me virtually everything. Everything. If I see anything that looks like that, those are the places where I'm learning from. Right? ChatGPT, I will just sit down there. It's patient enough to teach me and walk me through and stuff like that.
Repeat and repeat
I'm
and
telling
repeat.
you.
When
So
the human teacher will have been exhausted.
Yeah. So the learning curve has been reduced, sort of. Right? I always say that I'm going somewhere. I always say that AI is a simplifier, AI is an equalizer, and AI is an amplifier. So for the African teacher, AI puts you as an equalizer, it puts you on the same premise where you have access to the same level of knowledge, information, insight that anybody has in this world. Those tech guys, same level of access to that information, you have access to it. Right? So when you think about what you can do as a professional in the educational landscape, right, you can do more than being just a teacher and functioning. Think about other things. First, accept the fact that one, you can be more than that within the landscape, right? When I give an example of something like an cyber security specialist, right, is the fact that you have the right context. The normal cyber security guru, right, knows, but in the context of education, right, you have been in the system, you have the data, right, you have the right context. When you match that with education, right, and you are pitching yourself as an cyber security, and you create a program, AI can now help you in this regard, right? Creatively, you create a program where you are saying that, oh, this is what your students are going to learn. They will learn this and this and this and this and this, right? And you're even probably selling that kind of program to other schools because right now it's in need, right? The way the world is moving right now, the issue around the same way AI is advancing, there's a call for cyber security in that regard, right? It's a need. Many schools don't know how they can be safe online, right? It's a need. So there's that need that is very, very strong, right? So you can think about that and say, how do I even fit in that regard? Oh, you have to take some courses, you have to do this. By the time you take 1, 2, 3 courses, you understand the foundation, right? You know how to bring that to your context and say, I'm going to build a program. See, I talked about creating programs. I'm going to create a program, all right? And you can even sell it to your school. I mean, there's no forward-thinking school leader that will sit and say, oh, this is about keeping our kids safe, and you want us to pay a token for it, we'll pay for it, right? So it's not we're saying that teachers have to rethink their strategy in this era. Don't just stay on that level of AI is helping me to do lesson plan, worksheets, mark. No, this is not the case in other industries. Right? What we hear in other industries is that AI is helping them to scale. AI is boosting their productivity, they are earning more, and all of that. So how is that happening in education? I think how that will happen is when we begin to look at, we focus our eyes on the system and map out needs, all right, read needs that, because there are a lot of needs that exist, and think of how we can create solutions, all right, leveraging AI to reduce the learning curve and also helping us in that process. So AI is a tutor.
So a lot of punchlines there, because the thing is, how curious are you as a teacher?
Curiosity,
because your curiosity level has to be it has to be really high for you to even want to think of AI as a research tool than a content creation tool. You have to be curious enough to know that as the teacher, you are the context that these tech gurus are looking for to develop a tool. When you hear about an edtech startup and all of that, they are not necessarily the people with the context. They are the people with the technological knowledge, right? And the skills. But they need teachers. So teachers, now there's this limitation that teachers don't see themselves more than, oh, I have to provide the content for them. Who told you that you cannot be the one developing the tool itself?
Absolutely.
I hope teachers would come to that realization that as teachers, apart from being co-learners, they are also researchers.
Absolutely.
That was a defining moment for me. The moment I realized that, Bisayo, do you know you are a researcher? You have direct access to data that these startup CEOs will spend a lot of money to get. And you have access to it every day. You don't have to seek permission or anything to get that. So what are you doing with that data? Those scores that you keep marking every week. The observations you make about your learners and all, how are you putting all of that together to now become a producer and not a consumer?
Absolutely.
So I hope that this has really resonated with you as a teacher, as a school leader. I think we also kind of spoke to the EdTech guys too. Those people that are always coming up with a new tool every week and bombarding teachers, you know. So I know we've spoken to them. We also spoke to school leaders, and I hope that this episode would spark your curiosity and trigger something in you. Remember that you can always, you know, the door to the learning designers hub is always open if you want to start thinking differently. You know, it's just one step at a time. When you keep attending our meetings, you start thinking differently and you become hungry for more impact, not just being a consumer.
Absolutely.
All right. And that's a wrap for this episode on AI in education. This still remains K-12 2030 and beyond, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Yeah.